Welcome to Rehab Online. In this video, we will talk about the priorities to our recovery from the addiction. You know, I've been doing this a long time, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's that recovery is a journey, not a destination. It takes work, it takes commitment, and it takes making yourself a priority. That's why today, we're talking about the 10 priorities for a sober life. These are the things that, in my experience, make all the difference in staying on track and building a life you love. We're not talking about some quick fix here. This is about real, lasting change. So if you're ready to get real about your recovery, stick around. This ain't rocket science, folks. Your mental health is the foundation for everything else. If you're not taking care of your mind, the rest of your life is going to suffer. It's like trying to build a house on a foundation of sand. It's just not going to stand. You've got to make your mental health a priority. That means dealing with any underlying issues like trauma or depression. It means finding healthy ways to cope with stress and anxiety, and it means being honest with yourself about how you're feeling. Look, I know it's not easy to talk about these things, but trust me, it's important. The more you understand your own mind, the better equipped you'll be to stay sober. Don't be afraid to ask for help. There are people out there who care about you and want to see you succeed. Remember, you're not alone in this. Millions of people have struggled with addiction and millions have found recovery. You can too. All right, let's talk about emotions. We all got them and they can be powerful things. When you're in active addiction, your emotions are all over the place. You're up, you're down, you're angry, you're sad, you're all over the map. And that's no way to live. You got to learn how to manage your emotions in a healthy way. That means being able to identify your emotions, understand where they're coming from, and express them in a constructive way. Now, this ain't about bottling up your emotions. That's just going to make things worse. It's about finding healthy outlets for your emotions. Exercise is a great way to release stress and improve your mood. So is spending time in nature, listening to music, or pursuing a hobby. The important thing is to find what works for you and make it a part of your routine. Let's be honest, folks, addiction takes a toll on your body. It's like running your car on fumes. Eventually, something's got to give. That's why it's so important to make your physical health a priority in recovery. And that starts with getting clean and sober. Once you've detoxed, you've got to focus on nourishing your body with healthy foods, getting regular exercise, and getting enough sleep. I know it sounds simple, but these things make a world of difference. When you feel good physically, you feel better mentally and emotionally. And that makes it a whole lot easier to stay on track with your recovery. So make a commitment to taking care of yourself. Your body will thank you for it. Chapter 4, Healthy Relationships. Look, you can't do this alone. You need people in your corner who support your recovery. People who love you, believe in you, and want to see you succeed. But here's the catch. Not everyone in your life is going to be supportive. Some people are going to try to drag you back down into your old ways. They might not even realize they're doing it. That's why it's so important to surround yourself with people who lift you up, not drag you down. People who encourage your sobriety, not enable your addiction. If you've got people in your life who are toxic, you've got to set some boundaries. That might mean limiting contact with them or even cutting them out of your life completely. It's not easy, but it's necessary. You've got to protect your sobriety at all costs. Chapter 5, Healthy Boundaries. You know, boundaries are like fences. They protect your property and keep out unwanted visitors. And just like you wouldn't let just anyone walk all over your property, you shouldn't let just anyone walk all over you. Setting boundaries is about learning to say no to things that don't serve you. It's about putting your own needs first, and it's about protecting your time, energy, and emotional well-being. Now, I know this can be tough, especially if you're used to people-pleasing, but trust me, it gets easier with practice. Start small. Say no to something you don't really want to do. Then work your way up to bigger things. The more you practice setting boundaries, the more confident and empowered you'll feel. Chapter 6, Honesty and Integrity. You know, one of the biggest things that will eat away at you during active addiction is guilt and shame. You start telling lies to cover up your tracks, and pretty soon you're living a double life. That's no way to live. It's exhausting and it's unsustainable. That's why honesty is so important in recovery. It's about being true to yourself and to others. It's about living a life of integrity. Now, I know this can be scary. It's hard to be honest when you're used to hiding things, but trust me, it's worth it. The more honest you are, the freer you'll feel. Start by being honest with yourself about your addiction. Then start being honest with the people you love. It might be tough at first, but it will get easier. And in the end, it will be worth it. Chapter 7. Fulfilling obligations. Let's face it, when you're in active addiction, responsibility isn't exactly your strong suit. You're too busy chasing your next high to worry about things like work, bills, or relationships. But here's the thing. Recovery is about more than just staying sober. It's about rebuilding your life. And that means fulfilling your obligations. Now, I'm not saying you have to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes, we all do. But you've got to start showing up for yourself and for the people who depend on you. You've got to start being someone you can count on. Start small, pay your bills on time, show up to work on time, keep your promises. It might not seem like much, but these small acts of responsibility add up. They show the world that you're serious about changing your life. Chapter 8. Making time for fun. Now, I know what you're thinking. Fun? What's that? Listen, recovery doesn't have to be all work and no play. In fact, it shouldn't be. You've got to make time for fun. You've got to find things that bring you joy and make you feel alive. That might be spending time with loved ones, pursuing a hobby, or simply taking some time for yourself. The important thing is to find what works for you and make it a part of your routine. Life is too short to be miserable, so go out there and have some fun. Chapter 9. Limit negative influences. Look, you are who you surround yourself with. If you're hanging around a bunch of negative people, guess what? You're going to be negative too. That's why it's so important to limit your exposure to negative influences. That means steering clear of people, places, and things that trigger your cravings or bring you down. It also means being mindful of what you're putting into your mind. That means limiting your exposure to negative news, social media, and other forms of entertainment. Fill your life with positive influences instead. Surround yourself with people who support your recovery, read uplifting books, and watch inspiring movies. Chapter 10. Creating a life you love. This is it, folks. This is the whole point of recovery, to create a life you love. A life that's full of joy, purpose, and meaning. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, it's not always going to be easy. There are going to be ups and downs, but I promise you it's worth it. So what are you waiting for? Start creating the life you've always wanted. Go back to school, start that business, travel the world, whatever it is that makes your heart sing. This is your life. Make it count. Outro, you got this. We've covered a lot of ground today, but here's the bottom line. Recovery is possible. It takes work, it takes commitment, but it's possible. Remember, you're not alone in this. There are people who care about you and want to see you succeed. So don't be afraid to reach out for help when you need it. You got this. I believe in you. Now go out there and make me proud.